Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John. Again, Happy New Year. It's January 1st. This is the third video I'm filming on January 1st. This one's going to post on January 4th, I believe. Anyway, this is, I got this idea from Jason White. Jason just recently did a video of 21 books that he wanted or wants to read in the year 2021. And he had a category of, I think, horror, sci-fi, and fantasy. Now, I don't read sci-fi very much. In fact, the closest I'm reading to sci-fi is the one I'm reading right now, probably, and that is Monster by Duncan Evans. Other than that, I really don't read a lot of sci-fi. Also, fantasy. I don't read a lot of fantasy either. In fact, I probably don't read any fantasy that I can think of. Anyway, so this is 21 horror books that I want to read in 2021. And you know what? The main reason I want to read them, I want to get them off of my TBR cart. I got my cart right here. You can't see it, but it is absolutely full. But the top stack, there are 21 books here. So I'm just going to go through these really quick. Try to be as quick as I can. Mainly because I got chicken wings coming and I'm hungry. Anyway, let's go ahead and get through this. First up, I just got this in the mail yesterday. This is The Bell Witch, An American Haunting by Brent Monahan. If you remember, I just did the video called Bell Witch, The Truth Exposed. It mentioned this book in that book. And so I decided I want to go ahead and read this one also. So yes, it is of course about the Bell Witch. So there you go. All right, another one. I just got this one in the mail from Silver Shamrock Publishing. Thank you guys. And this is Dead Daughters by Tim Meyer. Let me see if I can read this here. Drew Lowry is living the American dream. He has the perfect family, a stable job, and a beautiful home in the suburbs of central New Jersey. Things can't get much better, but what seems like the ideal life is suddenly upended when he receives a blank envelope in the mail. Inside lies a picture of his daughter, a photograph of her violent murder. Only it can't be her. He just tucked her in and kissed her goodnight 10 minutes ago. But the mysterious Polaroid is only the beginning. There's the van following his daughter to school, the man who she sees outside her window late at night, the fact someone entered her room while the Lowrys slept peacefully. Local authorities are clueless, no leads, no clues, and ultimately no answers. Drew launches his own investigation, falling into a hole of lies and deceit, a truth he never saw coming. All right, and that is Dead Daughters, Tim Meyer. Let me move up closer. All right, book number three, Blood in the Woods by J.P. Willey. All right. For Jody, growing up in the late 80s and early 90s in the small Louisiana town of Hammond with his best friend Jack was filled with wonderful childhood memories. Time spent playing in the woods, shooting pellet guns, blowing up mailboxes, fighting at school, and upon the dawning of interest in the fair sex, their carefree lives typical of kids with few responsibilities and no worries beyond the next pop quiz or getting to second base. As they grew older together and experienced the joys and pains of love, life, family, and friendship, they uncover a grim secret that their hometown has kept. And through little more than an innocent, idle curiosity, Jody and Jack stumble upon something horrific in the woods, and their lives quickly take a most sinister and dangerous turn as they find themselves hunted by an unspeakable evil. That is Blood in the Woods, J.P. Willey. Moving on, number 4. Let's go over here to Help for the Haunted by John Searles. All right. It begins with a call one snowy February night. Lying in her bed, young Sylvie Mason overhears her parents on the phone across the hall. This is not the first late-night call they have received, since her mother and father have an uncommon occupation, helping haunted souls find peace. And yet something in Sylvie senses that this call is different from the others, especially when they are lured to the old church on the outskirts of town. Once there, her parents disappear one after the other behind the church's red door, leaving Sylvie alone in the car. Not long after, she drifts off to sleep, only to wake to the sound of gunfire. As the story weaves back and forth through the years leading up to that night and the months following, The ever-inquisitive Sylvie searches for answers and uncovers secrets that have haunted her family for years. And that is Help for the Haunted. I'm going to put this one back on the shelf. All right, next up. And this is a haunted house novel. It was written, I believe, let me see what year this was written. This is Disturbed, Not the Dream by Paula Tribesmen. This has got a really long synopsis. I'm not going to read all of it. All I know is that part of it takes place in 1938 with a family. Let's see what family. The Desmond family. And then in 1976 with the Bradley family. Like I said, it is a long synopsis. All right. And this was published in 1981. It's written by Paula Tribesmen. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've been wanting to read it for a long time, so I'm hoping to do that. Okay. Next up, we've got from Stephen King. Man, this has been on my TBR for a long time, or my to-be-read shelf or whatever. If It Bleeds. And this is 4 stories, I believe. These are novellas, like different seasons. And what was it? 4 Past Midnight. And what was the other one he did? Full Dark, No Stars? Was that the one that was the novellas? I think so. I don't remember. Anyway, you got the stories you have are If It Bleeds. Let me see. What stories do we have in here? I'm not going to read what they're about. I'm just going to tell you the names of them. Mr. Harrigan's Phone, The Life of Chuck, If It Bleeds, and Rat. All right. That is just, that's the 4 stories you get in this. This is If It Bleeds by Stephen King. Okay. Let me see here. And I got this one from Spooky Noodles. Nick over at Spooky Noodles. He sent me this one. And this is The Stickman. And this is by Edward Lee. And I really appreciate him sending me this. I do. I really do. Crash UFOs, Dead Aliens on Ice, extraterrestrial visitations. This is all the stuff of crackpot conspiracy nuts, right? Wrong. A stolen military weapon, a maladjusted little boy who sees things at night, and the best professional assassin in the world sent to kill him. Then there's the washed-up journalist who's just been told the most important secret of all time. Welcome to the realm of The Stickman, novelist Edward Lee's latest slam dunk, edge-of-your-seat fictional effort. Here, Lee, the author of multiple novels and over 60 short stories, perfects one of the most relentless thrillers yet in this age of government subterfuge, disinformation, and conspiracies within conspiracies. UFO buffs, X-Files junkies, and military tech fans alike will devour this meticulously detailed and blazingly paced millennial thriller that doesn't let go until the final page is turned. And that is The Stickman, Edward Lee. All right. Next up. This is a graphic novel adaptation of The King in Yellow, of course, by Robert Chambers. Illustrations are done by Colbert. Who is Colbert? Let's find out here. I.N.J. Colbert. All right. And this is, let's see some of the artwork here. I mean, it's decent, you know. I've never read The King in Yellow. I tried. I think I read a little bit of it. A decent amount of it, but yeah. Anyway, there you go. So yeah, I'm going to try to read it in adaptation here. Okay, next up we've got, and I just got this in the mail the other day, and this is from Dimas Rio, and this is Who's There, a collection of stories. Love that cover. A woman went missing a week before her wedding. A man recalling his nightmarish encounter with the devil. Letters sent from beyond the grave. A call from loved ones whose sins have passed. Limbs that have a mind of their own. These ghostly tales of revenge, greed, and desperation writhe and squirm in the dark corners of modern-day Indonesia. Rich in cultural undertones that are uniquely Asian, these stories are an equal part grotesque and poetic, irreverent and spiritual, unusual and universal, drawing on local folk tales of vengeful banshees, dusk-dwelling monsters, and other forms of the undead. This collection of 5 short stories will transport readers to the deep, dark abyss where demon forever resides, the human mind. That is Who's there? Get the glare off of it. There we go. All right. Next up, we have got from Andrew Michael Hurley. We have got Devil's Day. And this is a book of folk horror. After the blizzard of a century ago, as weeks before anyone got in or out, by that time what had happened there, what the devil had done, was already fable. Devil's Day is a day for children now, of course, a tradition it's easy to mock from the outside, but it's important to remember why we do what we do. It's important to know what our grandfathers have passed down to us, because it's hard to understand if you're not from the valley how this place is in your blood. That's why I came back with Cat, and not just before the gaffer was dead. Though that year we may have let the devil in after all. That is Devil's Day, Andrew Michael Hurley. All right. Okay, next up, I have got two books here. One is the first book, and then the other is the sequel. I'm not going to read the synopsis on the sequel. I'll read it for the original book. And let me get back in the camera there. And the first one is The Witch of Halloween House by Jeff DeGordick. And that is followed up by The Witches of Halloween House, also by Jeff DeGordick. Okay. A town torn apart by fear. There's an old house up on a hill in the woods that the kids call Halloween House. They accuse the mysterious old woman who lived there of being a witch, until the rumors got out of hand and the panicked townspeople burned her house down with her in it one Halloween. She only said one thing before she died: a curse on all of you. Now, 3 years later, the spooky holiday approaches again, and Carmen is left in charge of taking her little brother trick-or-treating. But strange things begin happening around the small town. Children are going missing now, one by one, and the only clue to their disappearance is a gingerbread man left on their windowsill. Now Carmen has to protect her brother so that he doesn't become the next victim as the townspeople descend into insanity all around them. Riddled with fear, they have no one to pin the kidnappings on. The kidnappings and strange occurrences on. Because the witch is already dead. Isn't she? So yeah, that is The Witches and the Witch of Halloween House. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, moving along. I know this is kind of a long video. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get through it as fast as I can. I appreciate y'all watching. Next up, Sour by Tony Evans. Deep in the mountains of Appalachia, a legend is told about something evil that lurks within the dense woods of Gunrack Holler. A witch is said to live there, one whose appetite for innocent souls dates back hundreds of years. Sam Fletcher had heard the story his whole life, but he never really believed it. After all, as his father always said, it's just an old folk tale, only a story. But 2 years ago, something happened that made Sam question his belief in those old folk tales when he accidentally crossed over into Gunrack Holler and found a small black book with a strange symbol on its cover. The promise to end all of his worries, the price, one that Sam would realize far too late, the loss of his only son Danny's soul. Now, with the help of his best friend, Sam is determined to get his son back. But to have a chance of reuniting Danny's soul with his body, he is forced to call on an even darker presence, one said to have the ability to resurrect the dead and fix things that aren't fixable. Locals call her the Bone Lady, and they say her power is stronger than Satan's. But dark curses aren't easily fixed, and Danny's body may have already soured. And once they sour, they just don't come back the same. And again, that is Sour by Tony Evans. Okay. Next up from Adam Cesar, I've got Tribesmen. And I may do a buddy read on this one with Cameron Chaney. I'm hoping to. He mentioned when he sent this to me about doing that. So yeah, I may do this. This is by Adam Cesar, or Caesar. I'm not sure how he pronounces his name. If you're watching, Adam, how do you pronounce your name? Caesar? I'm going to say Caesar. All right. And this is basically kind of along the lines of a kind of a book version of kind of Cannibal Holocaust, about this film crew wanted to go in and film cannibals and get all kinds of gross and gory stuff and make lots of money. And there you go. That's it. You have Tribesmen. All right. Next up, getting to the end here. Hope pretty close to it or whatever. This is Standalone by Paul Michael Anderson. It's another one that Cameron sent me. Okay. They are killers. They are monsters. They are evil. They stalk through summer camps, abandoned hospitals, run-down schools, and isolated houses, hunting anyone foolish enough to visit these places, leaving behind carnage, terror, death, and destruction. Sometimes there are survivors. Always there is blood. And they do it to protect and preserve all of existence across the multiverse. But now they are the ones being stalked and hunted, and life as we know it hangs in the balance unless they figure out a way to survive. And that is Standalone by Paul Michael Anderson. Okay, moving in closer here. There you go. Let me see what else we got here. We got I Am Providence by Nick Mamatas. Not sure how to pronounce it. Somebody actually corrected me on how to pronounce his name in the comments the last time I talked about this book. For fans of legendary pulp author H.P. Lovecraft, there's nothing bigger than the annual Providence-based convention, the Summer Tentacular. But Colleen Danzig, a horror writer and first-time attendee, is unsettled to discover that among the hobnobbing between scholars and literary critics is a group of genuine freaks, book collectors seeking volumes bound in human skin, and true believers trying to summon the elder god Cthulhu, one of their idols' most horrific fictional creations. The feat is hardly underway when Colleen's roommate for the weekend, an obnoxious novelist known as Panosian, turns up dead, his face neatly removed. As Colleen finds the convention goers to be disturbingly undisturbed about the unsolved murder, she embarks on her own investigation, uncovering a darkness where occult truths have long been lurking, a darkness where Panosian is waiting, spending a lot of time thinking about Colleen, narrating a new Lovecraftian tale that could very well spell her doom. And that is I Am Providence by Nick Mamatas. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. Okay, next up we've got The Invited. This is by Jennifer McMahon. In a quest for a simpler life, Helen and Nate have abandoned the comforts of suburbia to take up residence on 44 acres of rural land where they will begin the ultimate aspirational do-it-yourself project, building the house of their dreams. When they discovered that this beautiful property has a dark and violent past, Helen, a former history teacher, becomes consumed by the local legend of Hattie Breckenridge, a woman who lived and died there a century ago. With her passion for artifacts, Helen finds special materials to incorporate into the house: a beam from an old schoolroom, bricks from a mill, a mantle from a farmhouse, objects that draw her deeper into the story of Hattie and her descendants. 3 generations of Breckenridge women, each of them died suspiciously. As the building project progresses, the house will become a place of menace and unfinished business, a new home, now haunted, that beckons its owners and their neighbors toward unimaginable danger. And that is The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. All right, let's see what we got here. Next up, I got 4 more books here. Going to try to get through them quick here. Next up, we've got The Haunting of Gillespie House by Darcy Coates. Elle is thrilled to spend a month minding the beautiful Gillespie property. Over an hour's drive from the nearest town, the aging mansion is ideal for someone seeking solitude. But as she explores a new home, Elle makes a startling discovery. There's a graveyard nestled deep in the woods, containing a generation of the house's residents, all who died the same year. Then things start to go wrong very quickly. Actually, things start to go very wrong very quickly, it says here. All right? There are skittering noises inside the walls, slamming doors, whispers in the night, a locked room, and a horrifying mystery that wants to be solved. As she investigates further, Elle begins to unravel the property's dark and dangerous history. At its center is Jonathan Gillespie, a tyrannical cult leader and the house's original owner. And as Elle soon learns, just because he's dead doesn't mean he's gone. As The Haunting of Gillespie House, Darcy Coates. All right, winding on down here. Oops, there we go. Let me put this one there. All right, next up, we've got 24 stories, 24 darkly illuminating illustrations. This is Tales in Somber Tones. And this is stories by Sean Walter, artwork by Karen Ruffles. Let's open up to some of the artwork here and see what we've got. Oh, it's kind of creepy. Can you see it? Sorry about that. Let me get the glare away from it. Gosh, man. There we go. All right. Some of the artwork here. Let me see what else I can find real quick. Do that one. Let's see what we got here. Nice strange looking one there. Let's see. I'm going to read. I'm not going to read. I'm going to give the titles of 3 of the stories here. Scavengers, Hunted, and let's see. A Question of Evil. All right. So there you go. That is Tales in Somber Tones. All right, 2 to go here. The next one I've got is by Laird Hunt. And this is In the House in the Dark of the Woods. In this ingenious horror story set in colonial New England, a woman goes missing, or not missing. Perhaps she has fled, abandoned her family, or perhaps she's been kidnapped and set loose to wander in the dense woods of the north. Alone and possibly lost, she meets another woman in the forest. Then everything changes. On a journey that will take her through a wolf-haunted wood, down a deep well, and onto a living ship made of human bones, our heroine is forced to confront her past and may find that the evil she flees has been inside her all along. And this is In the House in the Dark of the Woods by Laird Hunt. That's a pretty wild cover there. I like that. Last but not least, we have got from Helen Oyeyemi. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But this is White is for Witching. Okay. Again, I apologize for the glare. There's something strange about the Silver family's house in the closed-off town of Dover, England. Grand and cavernous, with hidden passages and buried secrets, it's been home to 4 generations of Silver women: Anna, Jennifer, Lily, and now Miranda, who has lived in the house with her twin brother Elliot ever since her father converted it to a bed and breakfast. The Silver women have always had a strong connection, a pull over one another that reaches across time and space. And when Lily, Miranda's mother, passes away suddenly while on a trip abroad, Miranda begins suffering strange ailments. An eating disorder starves her. She begins hearing voices. When she brings a friend home, Dover's hostility toward outsiders physically manifest within the 4 walls of the Silver house, and the lives of everyone inside are irrevocably changed. At once an unforgettable mystery and a meditation on race, nationality, and family legacies, White is for Witching is a boldly original, terrifying, and elegant novel by a prodigious talent. And that is White is for Witching by Helen Oyeyemi. Again, I apologize for the glare. So that is it. That is 21 books that I hope to read in 2021. And like I said, mainly to get them off them, get them done, get them finished, get them read. Yes. And also because, yes, I do want to read them. Anyway, it is January 1st. This is my 3rd video posting today, or not posting, but that I've recorded today. I'm going to post this on January 4th. Thank you for watching. And you guys I hope you guys are having a great new year. I hope it's getting off to a good start for you. Anyway, the weekend is coming up. Enjoy the weekend. Have a great time, but please, whatever you do, stay safe out there. All right. Y'all have a good one. See you later. Bye.